welcome back to the Grave Consequences podcast, a part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. As you all know, this show drops every Thursday morning at 6:30 a.m. Central Time. Check out all the other great shows on this network, and also check me out every Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite on Eddie and Caleb's HeroCast. That's where me and my friend Eddie, we go back and we review these hero movies. We're into like the early 2000s now. In fact, we just last recorded our X2 episode. For reference, the recording date is April 16. Greg, we have we recorded X2. A couple weeks ago, we recorded Spider-Man, but now we're about to hit another dip. You know, and that's I don't look forward to that. Like looking at the list, like everything from like 2006 to like basically until Iron Man came out, which is a bigger list than some may think, but pretty much everything in that 2-year period sucks.
Well, people, and when people compared Marvel movies to DC movies, they're always like, why can't they do it like Marvel did it? But they forget all the bad Marvel movies that came out until Iron Man was the catalyst to good Marvel movies. Like, they were decent at best before that. Like, I remember the first X-Men is not good. It's not.
I disagree. Well,
if you're a big time fan of the comics, it's like Storm's not like Storm. I don't want to. We don't. This isn't the comic book podcast, but the best one I can think of was X-Men 2.
Yeah.
Before Iron Man, I can't think of another Marvel movie that was anywhere near as good.
Well, it's a Marvel property, even though it was done by Sony. But Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about Spider-Man. But other than that, though.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's been the cupboard has been pretty much empty. Like we discussed, X2, Spider-Man, Blade, the episode you were on. Those are like pretty much the only good Marvel movies we've seen so far.
No, and you haven't even. Have you done Daredevil and Elektra yet? Because
we did Daredevil. Elektra is in that 2005 time period. Oh man. First Marvel, the first Marvel movie that a lot of people may not know this answer is actually Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck, technically. Yeah. There's the Fantastic Four movies, which the first one I enjoy. The second one's, I don't know if I could get through it. And then you also have, we said Daredevil, Elektra, and there's something else I just had on the tip of my tongue that wasn't that great.
Well, there's two in the 90s that are really bad that like barely qualified for our list. In fact, I think one of them didn't even make theaters over here. But there was a 1990 Captain America, and there's like a 1989 Punisher with Dolph Lundgren as well.
See that I've never seen the Dolph Lundgren one, but if you told me there's a Punisher with Dolph Lundgren, I kind of think it's going to be good.
It was not.
See, that's weird to me. That's weird.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's kind of a slam dunk. But
plus, there was a spoiler alert in scene. You get to see his ass. So he didn't quite hang dong, but you did get to see some cheeks.
When did the Tom Jane Punisher come out? Because that's one of my favorite Marvel movies that people forget about.
2004.
Have you reviewed that one yet?
No, we go in chronological order.
Well, I mean, what year are you at? That's kind of what I was asking.
2003 right now. Like, I think we've got one more movie in 2003. That would be Hulk. And then we go into 2004.
Yeah, Hulk's pretty rough.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because they also kind of went into things that most people didn't know about Hulk, his character, and people were like, why'd they add this? It's not how the Hulk is. And it actually was, like, with his suppressed memories of child abuse and stuff and an angry dad. But, yeah, you got a lot of crap you got to go through. I'm trying to think. There's another movie they made that wasn't very good. Blades were good. Punisher's good. Daredevil and Elektra's bad. X-Men, hit or miss, but X-Men 2 is great. I love X-Men 2. X-Men 3 is a good bad movie. Like, it's objectively bad, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The guy that's throwing those spikes at Wolverine when they're running through the woods? You remember that scene? That's supposed to be Omega Red.
Oh, really?
And if you know who Omega Red is, you know that's just wrong.
Oh man. So I guess we can get started on season 1, episode 35 of Lucha Underground.
I
This episode,
guess.
yeah, I suppose. This man, real quick, they are limping to the finish line, like really bad.
They really are, and it's almost like they want to. It's almost like they have to kill time until Ultima Lucha because this is a
Yeah.
long season. I feel like they could have cut these episodes and just gone right into it.
Yeah. I feel like for everything else they're going to do, they could have done the, after the Drago and Mil Muertes episode, they could have done one more episode, got all the good shit in they needed to get in for, from between that time period and Ultima Lucha and been just fine.
I think you're right, and I don't think it helps at all that they're trying to shoehorn these feuds that started in the beginning of the season right at the end. Especially like I'm talking about Blue Demon Jr. Like he's gone for like a majority of the season, right?
Yeah.
And he just comes
Literally,
right at the end.
He's in two episodes, then he's gone, then he comes back in like episode 20 whatever. And yeah.
And it doesn't work because it only works for people that already know who he is and are invested. But for new fans like me, when at the time and even now, his rivalry with Chavo means nothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it does have some authentic ties to a feud between the families and Mexican Lucha Libre.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done anything with it. And it's not like he's a spring chicken. He's not going to be doing a lot of cool moves. He's getting older.
Yeah.
And then he's with Chavo.
Yeah.
So and I guess they're doing it with Tejano, and they're in a way they're making Tejano look great.
we'll get into that for sure. But yeah, this episode was titled "Fuel to the Fire." Do you have a subtitle? Alternate title?
What was I gonna? I did. I'd have to look at our messages, but I don't know. Oh, I was gonna name it after the Fuel song, "Shimmer" or "Hemorrhage." Yeah.
I like it. Oh man, what's a good Fuel lyric? Oh man, I can't think of any of their lyrics right now.
All that shimmers is sure to fade.
There we go. Away in the end. Yes. All right. First thing we see on this show is Pentagon doing some training, and then he's posing and talking to his master, and we only see a shadow, and we hear a distorted voice, and he said, like, I wanted to give you my greatest sacrifice, and you know what? I will give you Ian Hodgkinson. That's what he is. So he's calling Vamp by his real name now. So I gotta be honest. Obviously, I know where this goes. Upon first watch, I had no clue it was gonna go there.
Mm-hmm. I kind of called it the first time I watched it. I was like, "Watch this be who I think it is," and not that I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like one of the things. I was like, "Watch it be this guy."
Yeah. For those that don't know, the master was actually Del Torborg. Do you know who Del Torborg is?
No.
The Kiss Demon.
Oh man, that would have been better.
Oh man. So tonight, by the way, Mexican Dubweiser plays us in. Hell of a name. As always, hell of a name. And tonight we're getting the first ever Atomicos Tag Team Match, and my God, they spent a lot of time building up a match. You know what I'm saying?
It's a nothing match that is supposed to be story based, and we'll get to it. What they're trying to do with it, but it just misses the mark because you're just so close to the finish line that it's like I don't have time for your last minute entries into a feud.
This was that main event. We'll talk about it, but the main event was very like the kind of main event you would see on Raw in like the middle of the summer in like the early to mid aughts. It was like nothing really on the line. There's no real consequence here. But hey, it's loaded.
You know what? You described it better than I did because I didn't want to rag on WWE, but that was kind of the first thing I thought about was just that it's kind of has the names in it, and they're out to beat each other, but there's really nothing, even though there should be.
It's one of those things like this match, because Lucha Underground aired at 7 over here, 8 o'clock over there. So like at 9 o'clock Eastern, this match isn't going to matter. But while it's going on, oh cool, you got a lineup.
I'd say that's fair. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So the first match of the night is the Mac versus Cage. Oh, and by the way, Matt Stryker referred to the Mac as Lucha Ron Funches. Should Mac be pissed?
I'm gonna with a few things that I find I've realized in this match, and I realized at the same time I did the first time I watched, and I subsequently forgot it. Max is a juggalo.
Yeah,
he has a juggalo tattoo on his shoulder, which makes me question maybe his intelligence a little bit. Getting a juggalo, the Hatchet Man tattoo. Sorry to any juggalos, but you're putting yourself in a bad company sometimes with that. Juggalos are not known for their wit and their intelligence.
Yeah. No, I mean, we all know old Superhuman is a juggalo, so
yeah,
that kind of tells us what we need to know personally. So the very first thing I noticed is these guys were throwing hockey punches to start, Zayn and Owen style. I thought that was a nice touch. It really built up like, hey, there's heat here.
It's a good big. I wish I had paid a little bit more attention to this match. My work life is a little stressful right now, but this had good match elements in it. I mean, I love Mac does this suplex, a falling, walking vertical suplex. That's when you get someone in the vertical suplex, you hold them up as if you're stalling, but you walk forward and slowly you walk a few steps before you fall back.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I always kind of love that move. And Cage does his own suplex. He just does a stalling suplex.
He did a stalling suplex, and like in my head, I counted like 10.
Yeah, it's. I kind of like the simplicity of certain moves, and the suplex. I don't know, something about when you get someone in suplex and they walk forward. And Triple H did this a few times, I believe. I think he utilized this kind of vertical suplex. It's nothing super fancy, but it looks better than a regular suplex to me.
Yeah,
just because of the movements.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing is these guys, they're so fluid. It's like a light version of, and now granted, they're much heavier, but like a very similar to Ricochet and Will Ospreay, for example, in their Best of the Super Junior mess that they had.
Yeah, these are the big man version of that. I can see that very easily. I mean, these guys have some good chemistry together with their feud, because Mac came out of nowhere, in Lucha Underground, but he's already taking it to Cage, and it's believable.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Cage, of course, hits that sick discus clothesline, word to Stan Hansen. And that only gets him a 2, though, because ultimately the Mac wins this match, and he wins it with a schoolboy. So it's one of those like, yeah, maybe Mac kind of stole the win, but like, for me as a viewer, that's good, because it means this feud probably gets to continue, man.
It is, and I like that schoolboy roll up, because he did it from an Irish whip, and he kept going with it, and he used his other arm to kind of like arm to leg trap his legs, almost like an alligator clutch that one chick did in the Mae Young Classic. I forget her name, the blonde. You know who I'm talking about.
I can't place her right now.
Well, she did the alligator clutch, which is where like you kind of like, how Colt Cabana jumps over and does the Superman pin?
Yeah.
With his legs, he catches the other guy's legs with his legs. It's kind of like that, except for you don't jump all the way across. You just kind of lean over their legs and pin them.
Huh.
You hold on to, like, she kind of would wrap her arms around their ankles and slide over, and it would be hard to kick out of that. And his schoolboy here was not just a regular schoolboy. He had an additional arm wrapped around Cage's leg. So Cage was pinned, right?
Yes.
Which I love, pins that you win with that are actually not just you're laying on them, not just a lazy roll up, but you have actually like they can't get out of it. It's almost like a submission move, right?
Yeah. No, exactly.
Did you see his Shining Wizard? Mac did a Shining Wizard off the turnbuckle.
Oh my God, I don't remember it for some reason. I wish I would have.
It was when he did that jumping knee off the top turnbuckle.
Gotcha.
If you blinked, you missed it.
Wow. I'll have to go back and check that out, dude.
Did you hear Vampiro's line about him, though? This is the most important part.
He made a lazy eye joke about him.
Is that what that was? Because I didn't understand. Because he has a lazy eye? I never noticed.
I was going to say I never noticed either. I assumed it was a lazy eye joke.
Because he said he wanted to get Mac glasses so he knows which way he's looking.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make sense.
No, me either. I assumed it's a lazy eye thing. I don't know. But, like, I've never seen Willie Mack with a lazy eye, so I don't know.
Well, how would giving someone with a lazy eye glasses help you see where they're looking?
I don't know.
That's a Juggalo joke. And that goes back to what I was just saying. Whoop, whoop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. I'm not big on Juggalo culture.
That's just stupid is what I'm saying. It's a dumb joke. It's not funny.
Fair enough. Oh, by the way, Vampiro didn't even mention it. Stryker did, but he's like, you've done work with the Guardian Angels. It's like, what?
What, Vampiro claims he did work with the Guardian Angels?
I mean, Stryker claimed it, and then Vamp co-signed it.
Why give him more things to lie about? Okay, whatever.
Who knows, man? But after that match, Katrina snuck up on 1/3 of the trio's champion, Son of Havoc, and she had a message for him. She a little flirty, but you could clearly tell. Oh, hey, it's Katrina. She's up to something. And she said, "Hey, 1,000 deaths are okay. Like, you're gonna lose your trios titles to. Oh, and by the way, Greg, I figured out the name of the trios, the Skull Wrestlers, the Disciples. It's the Disciples of Death.
How did we not? Yeah, I guess we should have picked up on that.
I don't know how I didn't remember that, but yeah. She's like, hey, they're going to come for your trios titles. But before that, tonight, death is coming for you. In fact, 1,000 deaths are coming for you. And Ivelisse shows up behind Katrina. And pardon me, I spaced out there for a second. Ivelisse comes for Katrina, goes to grab her, and Katrina just teleports away because, whatever she is, it's not entirely human.
No, she's like a goddess, I think.
Yeah. And she teleports away, lights go out, lights come back on. Ivelisse and Son of Havoc are in a compromised position when Angelico comes in with his excellent comedic timing and says, oh, God, please don't tell me you two are back together. Oh, and they both kind of like scoff at him.
They go, "Oh, you." Laugh track.
That's our Angelico.
Just audience applause. If they'd done that, that'd have been great.
Each other, we can take anything that goes our way. Sorry, that's the Growing Pains theme song. Why I picked that, I'm not sure. So before the interview where Vampiro interviews Pentagon Jr., we had a preview for Ultima Lucha. We've only confirmed 2 matches so far. We have confirmed Alberto El Patron versus Johnny Mundo, and we have confirmed for the Lucha Underground Championship will be Prince Puma defending against Mil Muertes. So 2 matches confirmed, but we're going to add more. I think we're going to add at least one more tonight.
At least one more tonight, and I think Ultima Lucha is like 2 nights, right?
Okay, I was gonna save that until Dario said it on air, but yes.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good. It's all good, dude. Ultima Lucha is 2 nights. It is 2 parts. So episode 38 and 39 will be Ultima Lucha. So after that preview, we've got Vampiro interviewing Pentagon Jr. and Vampiro before it can even start. And I said it about Superfly 2 weeks ago. Vampiro apologizes to Pentagon like a little cuck bitch.
Yeah, and it's not even sincere, really.
No, it's clearly not. It's clearly one of those like, oh, I don't want to ruffle your feathers, Pentagon.
But I think you suck. But
oh my god.
I was gonna say though, this is this is like one of my conspiracy theories, like where I say like you can claim that they planned certain things out to make other things look better.
Yeah.
Like you could say like Vampiro, they orchestrated all the interviews to make it so Vampiro had the last laugh, so that they could lead up to this one, because this is the best Vampiro interview the whole season, because Pentagon puts him in his fucking place. He asks him a question, he just stares at him and just rolls his eyes and looks away.
Yeah.
And he gets in his face, he puts his finger in Vampiro's face. He doesn't put up with any of his bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what people. This is a main contributing factor to what made people like Vampiro or Pentagon. Because even before this, like there isn't so much going on. Like he does have a great aesthetic, he has a great look. He wants to hurt people. People like violence, but this is when it was like, not uncomfortable, but you felt the tension. You just have he has the aura of a guy that just he'll fuck Vampiro up, right?
Yeah.
He exudes that kind of confidence, and I don't know about you, but seeing this the second time, I loved it.
Yeah. So, you mentioned all those things that Pentagon has that are helping get him over, but one thing you failed to mention, and it's so simple, and it's almost cheating, because like anyone can get one and it'll really help out, but like some sort of helpful chant or a catchphrase, like Cero Miedo still is to this day. But like even, and people aren't super big on him in retrospect, but like Ryback was like over with a freaking shoulder twitch and a feed me more,
Oh, you're definitely right about that. And the Cero Miedo is a great phrase, and it's a great chant, and it's so crazy that it's so close to No Fear. Mm-hmm. That I remember watching this first time being like, that's never going to get over. That's too close to No Fear, like the Calvin and Hobbes where he's pissing, the decal on cars you always see where he's pissing on something. I was like, this is too close to that 1990s edgy bullshit. There's no way it's going to get over. I was wrong.
Hey, I get it, man. I've been wrong about things before. Pretty rare, but I have been.
Yeah, it doesn't happen a lot.
Vampiro, the first question he asked, good journalist, he asked, who's the master? And Pentagon didn't answer. And not only did Pentagon not answer, but it's amazing to me because he's wearing the mask, he's wearing the paint and everything. And he doesn't look pissed. He doesn't look intense or anything. He looks to be in thought. And I've never seen Pentagon in thought before.
This was a very different Pentagon. Like his energy wasn't, he has more confidence. Mm-hmm. There's a silent killer confidence inside him, which is, you can just feel it.
Yeah.
He doesn't respect Vampiro at all.
Yeah, no, he does not. Not what Vampiro has become, anyway. Because he even says, like, hey, we were so much alike, and now you're just a coward.
I love this.
Also, Vampiro on his delivery, it sounds really rushed. He's not super great from a script.
No, I liked how he I don't know how orchestrated this was, because he could, maybe he was caught off guard with someone not being intimidated with him, because other interviews people are just kind of like being little bitches, frankly, to him, and Pentagon is just, and like I said, they could have orchestrated it, like we're like, hey, this interview's got to go differently.
Yeah.
Vamp, you can't bury this dude. He has to be the one that you get over. And maybe his instincts, maybe that fought against his instincts to get himself over so much that he maybe was a little frazzled.
Okay, Vampiro claimed to be a 32-time world champion.
Where?
Who knows? And maybe he's using world in that, like, well, I won the World Television Championship, and I won the World U.S. Championship, and the World whatever Championship. Who knows, man?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think he won a lot of titles in WCW.
Yeah, maybe he just won a bunch. Maybe he won like the AAA equivalent of the 24/7 title a bunch of times.
31 times.
Oh, and then the interview is about to end, and Pentagon basically reiterates the Vampiro is a coward. They get nose to nose, and Pentagon leaves unscathed, untouched.
And Pentagon is, we always say it, man. I'd love to see him used even more in AEW.
Yeah, absolutely. So next up, we had Mil Muertes versus Son of Havoc. And the first thing I noticed is that the trio's champions, at least 2/3 of them, being Evilise and Son of Havoc, are very over.
Yeah, this is at the highlight of their trios grouping. They're all over, even Evilise, despite her best efforts.
Yes.
And I would love to give a rant about her in AEW.
Let me ask you, because apparently she got released because AEW mistreated her. I would like to get your thoughts on that real quick.
Oh, well, I've found out through on Reddit. I posted in the group chat that people that had gotten past the paywall for I don't know what's Sean. Yeah, she just didn't get along. She had beef with the agents and the bookers and the backstage talent. Like she just wasn't getting along with people.
Of course she wasn't.
And if you saw her match against
Thunder Rosa,
which is very weird, because have we already told the audience that Thunder Rosa will be in Lucha Underground?
I think so, but yeah, guys, like we're gonna see an Evilise and Thunder Rosa match on this show.
And there's no known beef between them that I can think of. Thunder Rosa seems like she gets along with she kind of blew up the women's division in AEW a little bit. Like people are talking.
A little bit, yes.
And she had matches with a lot of people and they liked her. And her and Britt Baker, I love that match. And Evilise has not done that. Yeah, no. So I was feeling bad for Diamante because I didn't want her to be kind of like lumped in with Evilise. And at this point, Evilise, I don't know what to say about her. She has nowhere to go. Really.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Impact would sign her, but I don't think they will. One thing I noticed, and obviously, like Mil Muertes is bigger, but like Son of Havoc, if you get rid of the beard, he's like a miniature Mil Muertes.
Dude, I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, they're kind of the same build. It's just one is the lightweight version.
Exactly, and like. Oddly enough, even though I'm pretty sure, Mil Muertes is at least a little bit Mexican because his name is Ricky Banderas, I think Son of Havoc might have a little bit of a better tan.
Maybe, but that could be spray on tan.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't know if you saw AEW, but I think it was one of the recent episodes. Matt's spray tan was leaking, kind of like Mayor Giuliani down his face.
Yeah, MJF is known to have a shitty spray tan every now and again.
Every now and then? He's always orange. I think he's doing that on purpose.
Maybe.
For some Trump heat or something. He's the kind of guy that would do it.
I guess. Oh, and by the way, here's a football analogy for you, because Son of Havoc, throughout this entire series, whether it's against Pimpinella Escarlata or Sexy Star or Masquerita Sagrada, or Johnny Mundo, or Mil Muertes, or anyone else on the roster, he always plays to the level of his competition. So in that way, he's kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers of Lucha Underground.
He definitely is someone that rises to the level of his opponents.
He rises and he falls to the level of his opponents. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's crazy that Evilise got to AEW before he did.
Yeah, I've said it before, like, and Young Boy pointed it out. It's like, yeah, like he's older, he's like shorter than short, he's full of gray hair. Like I get why a TV company wouldn't want to sign him, but he's so talented.
They have Billy Gunn.
If nothing else, like
they have Sting.
Sign Matt Cross to be like a producer, like because he can be an asset for sure.
I mean, they have Luther. I mean, they have plenty of guys that are old. Jericho. And I'm not comparing him directly to Jericho. I'm just saying, like, if his age is a factor, that wouldn't make too much sense. I guess, I mean, my real criticism is when he was on that AEW All In. I don't remember which AEW show he was on, but he was fighting against.
It was All In. It was the predecessor to AEW.
Was he fighting Sammy G or was he fighting
MJF?
It wasn't a good match.
Okay.
I mean, it was not a bad match, but it was just okay. I don't know if you remember it, but it wasn't even the best flippy shit.
So his build height is 5'7", so he's probably a shoot 5'5".
He might be shorter.
He could be. One of his ring names was, and I'm on his Wikipedia. One of his ring names was the 18th Amendment.
All right.
I need to do some brushing up on my Constitution.
We can Google that real quick because that's kind of a. I mean, was he being political? Or like, it seems like a weird thing. 18th.
Prohibition. Prohibition of alcohol.
I think prohibition would have just been a better name, like franchise or,
Yeah, who knows?
Whatever.
Either way, while all this is going on, there's a good match going on, and Katrina eventually uses her wiles on Angelico, and she even. Sorry, I'm getting spammed by a group chat right now. She even manages to choke out Ivelisse, and the Disciples of Death take down Angelico. But then Son of Havoc dives onto the Disciples of Death. But hey, at this point, like, okay, you've taken care of the Disciples of Death. Katrina is kind of out of the picture at the moment. But Mil Muertes is still out there, and you get a spear, a tackle spear, and a flatliner. And Mil Muertes gets the win.
It was a good match. I mean, if you remember, Ivelisse, when she was getting choked out by Katrina, she wasn't resisting. It was almost like she was possessed. Like she just allowed it to happen because her leg's broken. Her arms aren't broken.
Yeah.
It was supposed to invoke that Katrina can mesmerize you, even if you're female.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like the mask.
Kind of like that, yeah. I wish I had paid more attention to and liked this match more because it was a good match, but ultimately, I don't know what it really does for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it just gets another win under the belt of Mil Muertes before Lucha or Ultima Lucha.
It does, and I guess it does make it seem like they're more vulnerable to the three Disciples of Death, which is good. I mean, there's story reasons why they did it, but I think it goes back to what we said earlier. We're just so close to the end. It's like, just do the match.
Exactly. So after this match, Tejano is in the ring. This is after commercial, by the way. Tejano doesn't just like come out to the ring when Mil Muertes is out there. He's not crazy. But Tejano's out in the ring, and he claims that he is Mexicano, and he loves hurting people and breaking bones and whipping ass. Why he needed to say all three of those things, I don't know. He says, I am a cheater, but unlike a guerrero, I never turn on my raza. That means race, by the way, for those of you who are uncultured and don't take Duolingo lessons like I do.
So he's racist, one. But before that, he says that he said, even my own family doesn't trust me, my own brother. But hey, I don't betray Mexicans. It's like, well, you kind of just did.
Yeah, I guess.
Family. It was for me. It was kind of like this is a promo that's stuck in time a little bit, where it made sense at the time because people were still being edgy. It was still anti-hero, everything. You know, people wanted to root for the anti-hero, but nowadays I think everyone sees the anti-hero as kind of corny sometimes. Sometimes the anti-hero is actually just a bad guy, and it didn't make sense. I get the Viva la Raza, but you just said you betray your family just like a guerrero. So how are you different?
Yeah, exactly. Tejano, the tough guy that he is, he says he wants Chavo at Ultima Lucha, and he says, I don't care if your leg is broken, I'm gonna break your other leg. What a tough guy.
That's a good one, though. I do like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's at this point that the crew, of course, Mr. Cisco and Cortez Castro, pardon me, Mr. Cisco and Cortez Castro jump Tejano. Oh, by the way, Matt Stryker does mention that Chavo tore his hamstring, for what it's worth.
Oh, he did. I missed that because I was wondering why Chavo was.
Absent.
So he was shoot hurt. the previous
Yeah.
episode. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And while the beatdown is going on, Blue Demon Jr. comes in and makes a run in and makes the save for Tejano. But then, this was really bad. They could have edited this. They tipped their hand really early. Mr. Cisco grabs a chair and then passes it in the ring. Okay, logically, why would anyone give a chair to a guy they expect wants to beat them up? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Do you have a second point, or were you?
Oh, no. The point being that, yeah, of course, he passes the chair to Blue Demon, and Blue Demon uses it on Tejano.
Yeah, I guess I didn't notice that because I was already not invested in the story, and I already knew it was going to happen. I don't know, man. I can't really get invested in this story.
Yeah, it's it's not good. It's not good. Oh my gosh.
I mean, when Tejano's the best part of your feud.
Yeah, exactly. At one point, and it's when Blue Demon is hitting Tejano with the chair, and a loud fan near the ring mic says, "What the hell, man?"
They got some good. Do you think maybe they spliced some of that in? Because
I think
sometimes it's too perfect.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, chair shots, kendo stick shots, and Blue Demon says, "You're not Mexico. I am Mexico." Or pardon me, yo soy Mexico, as it were. And,
it's such a sudden feud over such a small.
Well, it's
slight,
bro. Like, I don't want to be look. I don't want to let the genie out of the bottle. Show the man behind the curtain. But like, it's clearly one of those cases of they were going to go Chavo Tejano, and then Chavo got hurt.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So it looks like, because Blue Demon lays down the challenge, he says, "You know what? Blue Demon Jr. versus Tejano at Ultima Lucha." So now we've got 3 matches for Ultima Lucha. And now we've got our main event, and boy, oh boy, this one was star-studded for the most part. We've got the Technicos of Alberto El Patron, Sexy Star, Aerostar, and Drago versus the Rudos of Johnny Mundo, Hernandez, Jack Evans, and Superfly.
I like how you added Superfly. That's how I feel.
That's and by the way, Berto slapped the shit out of Jack Evans.
He did. I feel bad for Jack. I mean, maybe he agreed to that. But I wouldn't have wanted to take that slap. Dude, I'm going to be straight up honest with you, bro. I stopped taking notes after the interview with Pentagon because everything after that was just like, Yep.
No, you're absolutely right.
We were talking about this, and we were talking about if this is RLPW, which line of pro wrestling.
It's not. I fucking hope it's not, because this is terrible.
No, it's not, because it wasn't good enough. Like, RLPW has to, like, I don't know if you remember the GIF that was put in the group chat, but the it was the springboard Toxic Rana. Guy springboarded backwards onto a guy and did a poison Rana. It was a corkscrew. He did a corkscrew spin too. So it has to be Ospreay, Phoenix, or Ricochet levels of flippy.
Yeah.
This didn't have that. I think this might have been the match where Aerostar did that stupid thing that took forever. I think I complained about it.
Bruh,
yeah, it was too much.
Dude, there was like at one point, there was like 20 seconds of dudes basing.
Yeah, and just waiting. There was this one moment where Jack Evans had to sit there and stare at Aerostar it was just too much. Like, this isn't, I don't think Rich would like this match. And this isn't a match I would expect him to even get through, because it's the editing was bad. Drago was, I think it was Drago. There were a few people that were having trouble being on the same page of others. It was a little janky. The editing was bad, I think. And there's no good. I mean, there's moves in there, but there's nothing extraordinary about any of the moves done. Even the ones that we're talking about with Aerostar, who normally does. I like Aerostar flippy stuff. It's like some of the few flippy stuff, but it was just too much. It was too too much waiting around for by someone else waiting to catch him. It wasn't even great. I think the best thing he did was the plank splash he does that I like.
Yeah. It's so funny to me that like they do all these spots and shit, and Johnny even hits fin de mundo on Alberto, and the finish comes when Johnny gets a roll up on Sexy Star.
He grabbed her panties too to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
I did notice that, but yeah, no, it's they do all this high divey flippy bullshit, and then they end it with a roll through. What?
Yeah, that kind of takes it away from me too, because I would like it if they go back to where you can actually get hurt doing, like, it's actually a risk. There's no risk in doing flippy shit besides the real world. But in kayfabe, there's really no risk. Like, yeah, you're both winded, you're both on the floor, but it'd be great if they started incorporating, like, hey, this guy did a dive and now he's out of the match.
Yeah,
right? He hurt himself. But having said that, like, all this match was trying to do was Patron chasing Johnny Mundo running away. It's just, for me, I don't care about chicken shit heels, bro. I don't know about you, but it doesn't build heat for me.
I mean, in certain contexts, chicken shit heels can do it for me, but
sometimes. But Mundo's never been a chicken shit heel.
No.
Is he really afraid of Patron? He's already fought him.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what's Patron gonna do? Throw his head through a window? Well, he's done that to Patron. Like, I mean, what? It to me, it didn't make sense. Like, I'll give you a New Japan. Like, Jay White's a chicken shit heel, right?
Yeah.
But he's still gonna fight them. He's not. He'll run away till he has the advantage. Like, it's cowardly, but there's a strategy involved. Mundo was just running away the whole time. He steals a pin. He runs away again. You've built Alberto up enough. He doesn't need to look any more stronger. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like this was needed to make Patron look stronger? It made Mundo look weaker, which I think was a mistake, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's an abrupt change to a chicken shit heel, and it's like you could have gradually have done that. That would have been fine, but this is kind of abrupt.
Yeah. Oh, and two more things real quick. Vampiro, being as dated as he is, he references Lou Gehrig at one point in time, and also Matt Stryker implies that Marty Elias slowed down the count when Hernandez had Aerostar pinned.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Which ultimately didn't matter because the Rudos ended up winning the match. And, the Rudos are celebrating. We're getting the post-show recap. They're running credits like, oh, my God, the show's over. That really fucking sucked. When all of a sudden, okay, the camera shot, gets a little tighter than usual. Not too tight, but a little tighter than usual. Pentagon comes out of nowhere. Thrust kick. Roundhouse kick, rather. Right to Ian Hodgkinson, as it were. And Ian then gets hit with a chair multiple times over the back. Pentagon says he's going to dedicate this sacrifice to his master. And this man... okay, and initially this was, like, the first time I saw it, this was really cool. And it was still pretty cool the second time, but one thing that did kind of take a few points down is that the drum was labeled gasoline.
I mean,
like people are too stupid to figure out what's in the drum.
It's funny you say that because I remember thinking, rewatching it the second time, I was like, wow, what kind of Looney Tunes? I was like, wrestling is so fucking cartoony. Like, we got to have a gas can that says gasoline. They always use the aluminum trash cans from, like, back in the 70s. They can't use, like, regular trash cans are plastic. It probably wouldn't be as impressive. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, everything has to be, you got to spell it out for your fans. And it's just, I mean, as soon as he pulls out a lighter, I know if it's shaped like a gasoline can, even the stupidest person's going to know. Exactly.
But he pours that gasoline all over Vampiro. And he says, you know what? If you don't accept my challenge, the world and your family will see you burn. You have 1 week. And the whole time he's saying this, Pentagon is holding a lighter.
He'd light him on fire if he could.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
That's pretty, like, I remember seeing that. I was like, this is fucking hardcore, man. Like, oh my God, that's wild.
It's a pretty big moment for Pentagon. This is probably the moment that changes his career more so than what actually comes of it. Even though that helps. There's not much more to say. It's really cool seeing Vampiro get beat up and almost burned alive.
Yeah, exactly. Just wish they would have gone one step further. Hold on one second. Oh, by the way, we're going to grade this episode.
Before you do that, though, there was one line by Stryker. The best part about the previous match was that he had to talk about each person's rivalry. He got to Hernandez, and he's like, Hernandez is out here to try to prove to the fans that dragons aren't real.
Yeah.
I love this feud, dude. This is
Dude, I do. I just love that the whole, like, oh, you idiot marks, dragons aren't real. I love that.
And that's the basis. And it's Drago, so it's going to be a good match. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a good match between them. I don't think it is a dud. Please tell me if it's a dud.
I can't remember, but I know I love Sean Hernandez.
Yeah, he might be one of my he's at least one of my MVPs of this season, at least. If not,
well, he's definitely not an MVP for me, but definitely like an unsung hero, or like a I wouldn't say comeback player, but like
rejuvenated,
the shockingly most successful guy I've seen.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you grade this episode, Greg?
Probably a D.
I'm gonna go C+, or pardon me, not C+, C-, purely because of that very last segment.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's really, for me, it's just that one segment is good, and I would just tell someone to watch that segment, and I would tell them to skip the episode. So I have to give it a D, because I'm rating the show overall, and unfortunately, as good as that segment is, and as pivotal it is for Pentagon's career, it's just the rest of the show is just it's nothing, frankly.
No, it's not. It's less than nothing. It's very bad. Okay, so folks, that was episode 35 of the Grave Consequences podcast. Remember, check us out every Thursday morning, 6:30 a.m. on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Search for us, the Grave Consequences podcast, or Social Suplex Podcast Network, wherever you download your podcast. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, please rate, review, and subscribe. Give us those 5 stars. Give us more if you can. That'd be awesome. We have several other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network as well. None as great as ours, of course, but still very good. Still very good. First off, we've got 8-Bit Suplex that is hosted by Heel Josh number 2, Josh McLaughlin, and Shooter Santos, Sandy Gaviria. That is Impact Wrestling and video game based. And by the way, Impact Rebellion coming up into the month. I think will drop before that pay-per-view will drop before this episode, if I'm not mistaken. But Mauro Ranallo is going to be on commentary for that pay-per-view.
I saw that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just for the world title match or for the entire show, but either way, that's still pretty cool.
I think it's for just that title match, because that's how it was. That's how the graphic looked to me. It said for the title match, Mauro.
That's fair enough.
Hopefully, I'm wrong.
I mean, I'm not a huge Mauro Ranallo fan, but it is pretty cool that they got him to do that. I just hope he got rid of his bob, because he grew his hair out and it looked really bad.
Yeah, it looked like the kind of haircut someone that has depression would get eventually.
Oh, gee, now I feel bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's COVID, so it was a COVID haircut, I think. In that he didn't get his haircut in forever. But and I mean like emo kind of haircut. Yeah. Okay. Oh crap, he made me lose my train of thought. Oh, I like Mauro, but sometimes he is very corny.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So if you like AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and content based on that program, you can check out All Things Elite, hosted by Floyd Johnson Jr. and Austin Summerwitz. Of course, Grave Consequences, you're listening to that right now. If you want to listen to some fellas talk about great matches in wrestling, listen to Great Match Generator, hosted by DJ Cooks and his gaggle of friends. That's a good time. Grown Men Watch This Shit, that is independent wrestling based. that is hosted by Chris Thangs and James Vanderbeek of Angus fame. We've also got, do you remember Angus, by the way?
From AC/DC?
No, not Angus Young.
Oh, didn't know.
The kid who wore the purple suit to the dance or whatever.
In what?
In the movie Angus.
Oh, no, I've never seen this movie.
James Vanderbeek was a bully, and I think what's his name? Not Turtle, but Eric, I guess, from I guess he went by E in Entourage.
Oh, when does this movie? When did this movie come out? This sounds crazy.
This is like mid-90s, dude. Mid-90s, and I think Kathy Bates was his mom.
Bro, I don't remember this movie at all.
Yeah, it's one of the unsung heroes of the James Vanderbeek filmography, right up there with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. If you want New Japan Pro Wrestling based programming, you can listen to Keeping It Strong Style, hosted by the boss Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh Smith. Of course, the original show here on the network, the very first show, we've got One Nation Radio, that is WWE, AEW, politics, sports, life-based programming, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. Last, definitely not least, if you want to listen to AEW, WWE, just wrestling in general content covered by people with an international flair, you can listen to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, hosted by two men who use pseudonyms known as Ricky and Clive. That is the entire catalog of the network. I did a pretty good job this week, didn't I, Greg?
Yeah, I think so. I'd say so.
Thanks, pal. Thanks. It means a lot. Even if you said no, I was going to be like, oh, he's full of shit.
It'd been funnier if you still said it. I'm like, oh, fuck you. You're full of shit.
Yeah. So, real quick, and obviously a lot can change in 2 years, but we've discussed before. We've talked Dojo Pro. We've talked Wrestling Society X, Ring Warriors, WWE's ECW. What are some other, and I know we got to get out of here pretty soon, but what are some other, shows we could talk about once this runs its course,
Yeah, I think overall, I think I would like, I don't know how many people are actually listening to this podcast, but I'd be genuinely interested in people's opinions, feedback. Like, even if it's like, oh, Maserati sucks, I hate him, he's grating, he's the worst thing to ever exist, and I hope all the bad things in life happen to him and only him. I still want to kind of hear it because, there might be some constructive criticism in there. But I genuinely am curious what other people think of the show.
Yeah.
Because if there is something constructively we could change to make it better, I'm obviously on board to do that.
Send all your hate tweets to @xmaserati and @IamCalebB.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, GC_cast is the name for the podcast account, but I think I've tweeted from there twice. So good luck, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. I mean, there's been times. Maybe you can give me the login, because there are some times when I want to tweet stuff out just from that identity, just in the realm of stuff we talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, what do you think the chances are we can get? Who's that? Oh, who did I say was going to be the third mic? She just got released, man. Chelsea Green.
Yes. Oh my God, I'd love to have her on the show. She's great.
That'd be great. We could only use her in season 4, but that'd be great. Yeah.
Well, what happened? Did she ever have a match in NXT?
She had a couple. Yeah.
Just a couple. That's all they did with her.
She had a cup of coffee, man.
Dude, she's money.
Yeah.
Even though she says some things that aren't accurate about New Japan at one point, she's money. I could see her in AEW. But she probably will end up in AEW.
Yeah, go off.
Well, I mean, just where else is she going to go? She's going to go to Impact? She's a little too good for Impact.
Her boyfriend works there, or her fiance works
Who's her
there.
fiance?
It's Ryder.
She's not allowed on the show anymore.
Well, okay, on that note, folks, thank you for listening. And as always, I want you to remember, if you ever find yourself...
I'm serious. She's done.
if you ever find yourself engaged to Matt Cardona, just remember, as far as coming on this show goes, there will only be grave consequences.